everyone, it's Gina K from Gina K Designs, and I'd like to welcome you back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you a couple of cards I made using the brand new Pop Art Flowers card kit, along with the new Electro Pop Neon Inks. First, I want to show you the size of the neon inks. So the Electro Pop Neon Inks come in what we call a mega cube. So this is a size ink that's easy to hold in your hand, but it's also big enough to use on an entire background stamp. Here it is next to one of our premium dye ink pads, and you can see that the ink pad itself is not that much smaller in height than our regular dye ink pads, but it's a square, so it makes it a little easier to hold and control. Now, next to one of our ink cubes, you can see when I open this up, the actual pad is about 4 times the size of one of our mini ink cubes. So it's a good size surface to work with. Now, for one more perspective, I want to show you this pad next to one of the fantastic Distress Oxide pads, and you can see that the pad is virtually the same size. So the Distress Oxide case is a little bigger, but the pad itself is about the same size as the Electro Pop Neon Ink pad. So for my card projects, I'm going to start with this stencil, and this is called the Sassy Stripes stencil. I have pixie spray on the back, so it's going to stick to the surface of this card. Now I'm going to do one stenciled design, and I'm going to use that for both of my card projects today. I'm starting with one of the Picket Fence Studios life-changing blending brushes and some of the Orange Glow Electro Pop Neon Ink. And you can see how beautiful and vibrant that ink is. But I'll tell you, from what I've seen, trying to take pictures and trying to do video of how bright this ink is, well, it just doesn't do it justice. Once you get yours home and you start creating with these inks, you will not believe how vibrant and beautiful these colors are. So I'm going to continue to blend this Orange Glow ink up and down these stripes. And this is a great stencil, by the way. It comes in the Pop Art Flowers kit, and it can be used for all kinds of different cards. You can use this for holiday cards if you want to do that candy cane pattern, or you can do what I'm going to do here, and I'm going to create more of a plaid look by doing a crisscross technique. So I'm just turning this stencil 1/4 turn, and I'm going to lay it back down onto my cardstock. Now I'm going to use a piece of paper towel to press this down onto the cardstock. It still has that pixie spray on the back. And by pressing it down with a piece of paper towel, I'm also cleaning up a little bit of that surface ink. Now I'm going to use the Poppin' Pink Electro Pop Neon Ink. And this color is amazing. When you see this in real life, you won't believe your eyes how vibrant it is. All of these colors are beautiful for fun, bright floral cards. They kind of feel very tropical and very rich, and the color stays vibrant even after it dries. It's got that same smoothing agent in it that all of our premium dye inks have, and so you'll get a beautiful smooth result as it dries. But there's also an additional additive in it that makes these colors actually glow. So now once that's done, I'm going to take the stencil off, and you're going to see that little plaid design underneath. And you can see how cute that is. I must have gotten a little pixie spray under my cardstock because it seemed to be a little stuck there. So next I'm going to stamp some of the Electro Pop Flowers, and this stamp set is also part of the Pop Art Flowers card kit. It's called Electro Pop Flowers, and we named it that because it's such a perfect stamp set to use with the new Electro Pop inks. So I'm going to stamp this large flower using some of the Orange Glow. And I'm going to actually stamp lots of flowers here because both of my cards are going to use cutout flowers as part of their focal image. So you can see, I'm just stamping this with one of our comfort blocks, and you can see how beautiful the coverage is on this stamp. It's very easy to get good coverage. This is a nice thick ink, but it does dry very quickly. So I'm going to continue to stamp some of the other flowers from the Electro Pop stamp set. And then I'm going to stamp some of the same flowers in the Pop and Pink. So the Electro Pop Flowers stamp set is a very graphic style, but it's also a layering set. So we're going to do a little bit of layering once I get all of the initial color down onto these pieces of cardstock. So I only need a few of these, but when I'm stamping, I like to stamp extras and cut them out, and then I put them aside so that I'm ready for my next card when I just need to grab a few die cut pieces. So the next thing that I'm going to do, and you can see how beautiful that coverage is, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add some detail into these flowers. So I'm going to use the detail stamp here, and you can see that that just fits right in there. They're pretty easy to line up. And for the orange glow ones, I'm going to use the Pop and Pink ink over the orange glow. So that kind of softens that pink a little bit, makes it a little more peachy, but it still has that neon, almost fluorescent look about it. Now for the pink flowers, I'm going to use one of our premium dye ink pads, and this is the Passionate Pink. And even though this is a super bright color, you can see how muted it looks next to the Electro Pop ink. So that's a nice soft look and a great combination for layering. Now I'm going to add some of the insides to these flowers. So I've chosen one of the little designs from the Electro Pop Flower stamp set. And I'm just going to hand stamp all of the centers of these flowers. And like I said, I have a few extras here. I don't need them all, but they are, I had the extra cardstock, so I figured I would just stamp them out and cut them and save them for another project. Now I'm going to stamp all of the centers of these flowers in black onyx because I'm going to highlight my card with a little black onyx, and when you add a little element of black inside your stamped images, it really makes a huge difference. Everything seems to just pop. Now for these bigger flowers, there's a bigger version of this same stamp, and I'm going to use that for the bigger flowers on my orange glow versions here. So I'm going to stamp that right in the center, and you can see how nicely that fits in the center of that flower. So next I'm going to stamp some leaves, and you can see I've stamped a lot of leaves already because my stamp is kind of stained with some of this Loud Lime ink. I am going to stamp these in Loud Lime, and then I'm going to come in and do some details with one of our premium dye ink colors. So I'm going to just stamp 4 of them because that's all I'm going to need for this project. And I want to get cutting because I have a lot of flowers and a lot of leaves to cut out. So once I have those leaves in place, then I'm going to ink up the little veins using grass green. Now grass green is a very vibrant green in the premium dye ink collection. But when you place it on top of the Loud Lime or the new Screaming Green, they just look so much more muted because these colors are so glowy and fluorescent. I'm just going to finish up these 2 little leaves, and you can see how easy these are to line up. You can just look right down in through the block and line them up. So there are the leaves, and here are my orange glow flowers and my Pop and Pink flowers. And now I'm ready to die cut. So I like to use purple tape when I place the dies down. This way I can do more than one at a time, and I don't have to worry about anything shifting. If you have trouble die cutting and getting a nice even border, you can die cut these flowers out first, then lay that blank image over the flower and line it up and then drop the die into the empty space. So you're actually taking the little image piece out and just using what's left behind to create a little guide around your flower. So I'm going to pop these out and I'm going to keep cutting, and you can see how nicely they cut. It's a nice close edge on this die set. So I'm continuing to cut flowers. Just have a few more to go. You can see once again how even the borders are. I have a whole bunch of them down here I've already cut. And now I'm going to cut the leaves, and now I have everything that I need to complete my projects. So now I have that stenciled design, and I'm going to cut it. I'm going to make a cut at the 2-inch mark, and that is going to be the panel that I use for my first card. And then for my second card, I'm going to actually do a wreath builder card. So I'm going to save that for a strip that's going to go along the center. But I am going to need to trim this one down. So I'm going to trim it a little bit shorter here. Right now it's at 5 inches. And I'm going to trim that down to 3 3/4 inches. And then I want to thin it out a little bit because I don't need it to be quite so wide. So once I cut that, I'm going to turn it and I'm going to cut it at the 1.5 inch mark. And that will be the perfect size for a strip that's going to go across the center of my wreath builder card. And I'll be showing you that one in just a minute. And this is a little black border that's going to go on that strip, and I just wanted to check it and make sure it fit, and it certainly did. Now I'm going to make a wreath using these fun Electro Pop flowers and these Electro Pop Neon Inks. So whenever you use the Wreath Builder template, I recommend taping it down inside your misti with a little purple tape. This way the template won't shift at all when you're building your wreath. So I'm starting with one of the leaves, and I'm going to use the Loud Lime. These cards are going to coordinate nicely. If I wanted to make more of them, I could give them as a set. And I'm going to continue to stamp that leaf all the way around, changing from square to diamond orientation as I go. Now, if you're new to wreath building, at the end of this video, I will link a wreath builder video so you can learn more about this process and how easy it is to create beautiful wreaths using this template. The template comes in 2 sizes, a 3 3/4 inch and a 4-inch template, and I'm using the 3 3/4 inch template for this design. So once I have all of those leaves, then I'm going to go back over them with the vein part, the vein stamp, and I'm going to stamp those in the grass green like I did for the ones that I cut out. And once these are all stamped, I'm going to add a few flowers to this wreath. So here I have one of the small flowers, and I'm stamping and turning just on the square orientations of this card. This way I can alternate color quickly by stamping all the squares first in pop and pink, and then all the diamond sides, you can see that looks like a diamond sitting in that Wreath Builder template. I'm stamping all of the diamond sides in the orange glow. So now I have all 8 of my flowers just about done here, but I want to fatten it up a little bit, so I'm going to add flowers inside the wreath, and I'm alternating colors once again between orange glow and pop and pink. And you can see I have the smaller flowers in the center and the larger ones along the outside. And you'll notice when I make wreaths, I very rarely use more than 3 stamps to complete my wreath. I think less is more when it comes to wreath building. So now I'm going to just hand stamp the little centers for these flowers. And that's easy to do once you've built your wreath because you know that the placement is correct and you just have to eyeball the little centers. And that makes it just a little bit faster. So there's my completed wreath. So next I'm going to cut this panel in half, but before I do that, I want to create my greetings. So I'm going to use one of my ovals that I designed for ThermoWeb. These are the small ovals and they have a double stitched line. I'm going to mount that onto one of the large ovals which has the single stitched line, and the large ones are 1/8 of an inch bigger, so you get that perfect little shadow layer. Now the stamp I'm using is also from the Pop Art Flowers kit, and that stamp set is called Wrapped in Love. And that is a beautiful large stamp set too. I also did the same thing on one of the circle collections, circle dies, with the thank you greeting from that same Wrapped in Love stamp set. So now it's time to assemble the card. So first I'm going to adhere the strip to a black strip that I cut out 1/8 of an inch bigger and mount that onto the card. Then I'm going to layer my ovals together, and using some foam squares, and these are the Gina K Designs and ThermoWeb foam squares I'm going to use. I've chosen to use the black ones because you won't see them on the back at all. I'm going to put 5 of those on the oval and then place that oval in place on the front of the card. And once that oval is in place, I'm going to start to build a bouquet using all those die-cut flowers and leaves. So I'm using foam squares to pop these all up, but if you want to make your card a little bit thinner, you can eliminate all the foam squares and just tape everything directly to the cardstock. So you can see I'm continuing to build this little bouquet, and I'm having flowers and leaves cascade off the edges of that oval. And it's just missing one little flower that's going to come off the bottom of the oval, and I'm gluing that one directly, taping that one directly onto the oval. And so there's my first little card that I made using that piece of stenciled background and flowers. Now I'm going to cut this wreath in half, and if you want to do this with scissors, you can, but if you want it to be precise, the measurement for that 3 3/4 inch circle is cut it at the 1 7/8 of an inch mark. Then I'm going to adhere this at the top and the bottom of this black piece of cardstock, leaving the 3 edges. I want to have a nice little even border around those 3 edges, so the sides and the top, or the sides and the bottom. Now once I've placed those, you can see now it looks like an oval wreath. I'm going to add this decorative strip from that stenciled piece, and that finishes it off and gives the card lots of bright, fun interest. So that's taped down, and now I'm going to adhere my greeting panel onto the top right after I attach it to my white card base. So now that that is in place, you can either attach your greeting panel using foam squares, or you can do what I'm doing here. I'm just going to attach them using some adhesive. I just used my regular dot runner adhesive. And now I'm just going to place those 3 flowers like that, and that gives me a beautiful bouquet. So I want to show you a close-up view of the first card that I made. I also decorated the inside using the same Wrapped with Love stamp set. So birthday wishes on the outside and wishing you a day wrapped in love. And then for the Wreath Builder card that I made, I have thank you on the outside, and inside, you are the best. And I played on that same big bold flower on the inside that was on the outside. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's Stamp TV video, and I hope you'll give these techniques a try. I just know you're going to love the new Pop Art Flowers card kit, and I can't wait until you try the new vivid Electro Pop Neon Inks. All of the new inks, the new kit, and all of our beautiful illustrator sets are now available in our store at ginakdesigns.com in the What's New category. And here are a couple other videos I think you might enjoy, and I hope you'll hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.